local, late breaking. This is KEZI 9 News at 11.
One U.S. senator is encouraging more production and jobs for the wine, beer, and spirits industry. Thanks for joining us. I'm Stacey Kafka. Senator Ron Wyden is proposing big changes so small businesses can get tax breaks. This legislation is our top story at 11. Wyden held a roundtable discussion with local beverage producers in Eugene today. He's promoting a new bill which he thinks will benefit those industries in the state of Oregon. Those companies employ about 40,000 people, and it's a $6 billion industry. He says his bill aims to help the businesses.
What this will do is provide a tax relief that puts money into the pockets of our beer companies and our winemakers and those who make distilled spirits. They'll put money in their pocket with the tax relief, and then it'll get rid of some of the rules that are really outdated.
He says this will save time and money for companies, and they'll be able to increase hiring and production. Hundreds of soldiers reunited with friends and family today. A demobilization ceremony took place at the Lynn County Fairgrounds in Albany this afternoon. The soldiers were deployed as task force volunteers to Kabul, Afghanistan. The deployment included training, which lasted from August 14th of last year through May 1st, 2015. The battalion was divided into 4 separate missions in Afghanistan during the deployment. Although the soldiers have been now home for a couple of weeks, today marked their official homecoming, and soldiers say they are grateful to be back in Oregon.
This was kind of the stopping point where, we could always look forward to it. This is this set date, and now once we're past that, people can look at their, going back to regular life and adapting back into the regular climate.
It means that things are going to start getting back to normal a little bit, start going back to our 1 weekend a month things like that. So it's kind of nice to get normality back into place a little bit.
Both U.S. Senator Ron Wyden and the Oregon Secretary of State, along with several other dignitaries, were also at the Welcome Home celebration. Thousands of students at Oregon State University are now college graduates. Today was Beaver Nation's 146th commencement ceremony at Reser Stadium. This year's graduating class includes students from 63 countries around the world. Thousands of friends and family members of the graduates packed Reser for the ceremony. OSU is one of the only universities in the nation to physically hand graduates their diplomas on graduation day. And today, more than 6,000 students walked across the stage to get theirs.
I'm going to celebrate with my family, enjoy the nice weather, but later on I got a nice little internship with a coffee company, and it's going to be a great summer for me.
The oldest graduate today is 70 years old, and the youngest is 20. The graduating class includes 121 veterans from the U.S. military. Police in Portland are investigating a suspicious death after they say a man was assaulted at a busy intersection. Police found 54-year-old Marvin Holliday on the corner of 6th and Flanders in downtown Portland on June 4th. They're now asking the public for help. Investigators say Holliday was taken to the hospital with serious injuries where he later died. They believe Holliday was assaulted around 8 that night, but they don't have any suspects. Crime Stoppers is offering a reward of up to $1,000 for information that leads to an arrest in this case. A bicyclist who broke his spine in a Portland crash is now suing the city, TriMet, and ODOT. He's asking for $21.4 million, saying the bike lane is too narrow. 59-year-old Michael Cooley was hit by a truck in 2013 while he was riding his bike on Interstate Avenue in Portland. The driver took off and was never found. The bike lane is 4 feet wide. The city's master plan says 6 feet wide bike lanes are desirable, but 4 foot are acceptable if there are physical or economic constraints. The warmer than usual weather is allowing Southern Oregon rafting companies to get an early start on the season. Rogue Wilderness Adventures in Merlin says it has seen an uptick in bookings for rafting trips in the last several weeks. In the summer of 2013, the recreation industry was hit hard because of all the fire and smoke in the area. Now these companies are trying to take advantage of the early season rush, but it does take some extra effort.
It's just hiring and hiring and hiring. And so we're hiring about 4 weeks earlier than normal. This week is a great week because all of our college kids come back from school. All the schools are out, and we now finally have our whole full team of staff.
Administrators say they will continue to keep an eye on the weather and the fires in the area to plan for the rest of their summer. And obviously some great weather for rafting here today. What's in store for the next few days?
Well, we're going to warm up tomorrow. We're going to get back into the 80s, but then We'll be back in the 70s on Monday, and that's going to stay the course throughout most of the week, but plenty of sunshine. But let's head over to the Storm Tracker 9 Weather Center and take a look at current temperatures right now. Mid-50s for the Willamette Valley, still in the upper 60s, though, for the Umpqua Basin. Temperatures around 50 degrees as we head out towards the coast, a little milder out there. But Storm Tracker 9, current radar and satellite imagery showing clear skies through the region. That's going to continue into the overnight and to start your Sunday morning off. Planning your Sunday here for the Willamette Valley. Temperatures in the mid-50s by 8 o'clock, increasing into the low 80s as we get into the afternoon. We may see some light clouds, though, later in the day, but plenty of sunshine throughout the region, and that's going to be the case through western Oregon. Temperatures in the 80s to mid-80s down in the Umpqua Basin, upper 70s out towards central Oregon, and out towards the coast. Still a little milder, low 60s with some light clouds, but other than that, plenty of sunshine for your Sunday. I'll have more of a detailed forecast coming up in a bit.
All right, thanks, Matt. Drought-like conditions are prompting fire season to start up. Effective now, the Oregon Department of Forestry has issued a ban on all open and backyard burning. That's in effect for Linn, Benton, and Marion counties. ODF officials say the ban will help reduce the number of debris burns that escape control and spread into wildfires. The ban is in effect through October 15th, but it could be extended depending on the fire danger. Fire agencies and the ODF have the authority to hand out citations to residents violating the ban. And fire season starts Tuesday for Lane and Linn counties. Oregon Department of Forestry sent out these reminders as fire experts urge people to think about fire safety. They're advising people to create a defensible space around their homes and sheds. Also, make sure your driveways are marked and brushes cleared. If you have to burn, use extreme caution. They say there have been a number of wildfires in the past several weeks in our area. The conditions that are forcing an increase in the fire danger are also feeding a fire burning in southern Oregon outside of Cave Junction. High winds and low humidity are driving the buckskin fire. It's now 1,200 acres. A red flag warning is still in effect. The fire can be seen from the town of Cave Junction. It is burning toward the area burned in the Biscuit Fire in 2002. The area burning now is filled with a lot of material that burned in that fire, making it hard for crews to get around. 145 people are working the fire, and an incident command team took over today. Police canines are in Springfield today, not fighting crime, but competing. Silky Field at Springfield High School was filled with hundreds of people for the 20th annual Springfield Canine Competition. Police dogs from across the state were there to compete in 5 different categories: area searches, agility, fastest dog, suspect apprehension, and handler protection.
I think it's great to see kind of behind the scenes what these guys are doing on a day-to-day basis and seeing the skills that these dogs have and the relationships with the handlers. You see one of the guys when he finished the agility course, he's just out there laying with his dog and his dog's having a ball.
Also at the event today was Springfield's new police canine, who's only been on the force for a couple of weeks. Some track and field fans are getting up close and personal with Olympians today at Mack Court. More than 1,000 fans gathered to hear from the track and field stars. They shared their stories with kids in the audience in hopes of inspiring them to strive for greatness and focus on education. Fans and organizers believe this event will have great impact on the kids.
Here's an opportunity for our young kids to see folks who are great, you know, and the opportunity to share greatness with young people doesn't come along all that often.
The legacy of track and field continues with this generation, and we want kids to experience run, jumping, and throwing, and this is a way to get them excited about the sport.
This is the 3rd year Olympic Day has been at the University of Oregon, thanks to an anonymous donor. Coming up, new details are emerging after an elaborate prison break in New York. More on the arrest in the case and manhunt underway. Plus, a fun afternoon at camp turns deadly for a child. What camp activity turned out to be not so safe after the break. A massive manhunt continues for 2 escaped murderers in New York. Last night, 800 people were out on the search, and there has already been 1 arrest in the case. Prison employee Joyce Tilly Mitchell faced a judge yesterday. She's charged with helping 2 inmates escape, David Sweat and Richard Matt. Investigators say Mitchell supervised the tailor shop at the prison. They say she smuggled in some kind of contraband, which helped the inmates break out of the maximum security prison. What was supposed to be a fun experience turned into a deadly ride for a 12-year-old camper in North Carolina. The CEO of Camp Cheerio says a zip line that had been in operation for 4 years failed, killing a young camper. He says it appears the line may have been tangled. The tether attached to the child somehow wrapped over the zip line and it snapped. The girl who was killed had been going to the camp for several years.
And temperatures back in the 80s tomorrow, but how long will this warm temperature last? I'll have all the details coming up after the break.
Dropping temperatures into the mid-70s by midweek.
Well, definitely looking forward to some relief from the heat.
Exactly, yeah. No 90-degree temperatures to speak of, so that's a good sign.
All right, thanks, Matt.
Yep.
There are more water restrictions tonight in California, where farmers are already hurting from the historic drought. The Wall Street Journal says more than 100 of the state's senior rights holders must stop pumping from certain watersheds. It's the first time in 40 years they've seen these restrictions, and these cuts could impact hundreds of farmers. Officials say they can continue to pump water from the ground or purchase it from somewhere else. President Obama is pledging more than $110 million to help farmers in rural areas who are impacted. The state's set to receive $18 million in federal funds to find work for people who have been displaced by the drought. Coming up in sports, the Ducks sweep the outdoor track and field championships. See how the women won today and hear from Oregon's individual champs right after the break. And do you have a tip or story idea? We want to hear it. You can email us at listens@kezi.com or call us at 284-KEZI. Breaking news, one person is dead after a boat crashed in Springfield today. It happened just after 6:30 tonight when a pontoon overturned on the Willamette River near Jasper Road. We'll have more on this story as it becomes available. Well, and on a hot summer day, there's nothing more refreshing than a big glass of lemonade. This weekend, those lemonade stands across the country are special. A cancer survivor in Kentucky hosted an Alex's Lemonade stand this afternoon to raise money for the organization and pediatric cancer research. Cameron is celebrating his 5-year cancer anniversary, so his family wants to help others going through what they did.
We were going through it. We didn't know about a lot of the organizations because we were so busy, going back and forth to the hospital, that now we have time to, give back to the other kids. And it was extremely hard financially and emotionally, so we know how that is.
Alex's Lemonade Stand is a 3-day national event that started with a young cancer patient's front yard lemonade stand. All the money raised goes directly to children with cancer. And now a quick look at our last forecast for tonight.
Well, temperatures in the 80s tomorrow, plenty of sunshine at your weekend, but cooler temperatures are on the way.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning.